And we have entered this world where I think sometimes we judge others and we're like, you're being fake, you're not being authentic, you're not being real. And I have to, it's probably an impossible question to answer, but how do we, or should we even care if other people are being authentically themselves, professionally or personally? Because we're not in their body. How can we know for sure? And, how do we kind of respond to that in some fashion? Because that was kind of the eye opener to me, is like, if I'm looking at you and I'm like, Julius looks a little off today, but it's really just you tapping more into who you are. And I haven't seen it in the past. So who am I to say that's not you being authentic? I mean, what are some of the, as you chew on that a little bit, things that you may have seen or experienced or thought about when it comes to that feeling of, are you being real with me right now? Are you not? How do I respond?
Yes. Oh goodness, this is spot on, Natalie. So at the retreat with the Leadership Pittsburgh folks, in my keynote, I spoke about a few different things. One of the myths when I was doing my research on vulnerability, and first let me say, so much of the research on vulnerability frames it as a deficit. So I had to do so much digging to be able to find strengths-based research and data on vulnerability. So that's another episode if you if you want to bring me back for part 2. But one of the points that I brought up and that I invited folks to consider and think about more was trust, right? And I told this story that I think most of the people in the room, it resonated with them, right? This story of when we go and we go to someone that we work with, whether it be, someone in the same hierarchical part of the org structure as us, or a higher up, and we ask them for something. We ask them something that's very direct, right? And then the answer that they give us is this like dancing around, this verbose, sort of flowery, fluffy language. I asked the room, like, how many of us know when that's happening? You can get a sense that, wow, this person, they don't have the answer to my question. They don't know what they're talking about, and or they're hiding something. They're pulling a veil over my eyes for whatever reason. Because they don't have the answer, because they do have the answer and they actually don't want me to know, or they don't want us to know the real answers. So some or all of those reasons. And when that happens, right, when that person is not being, I'll call it, right, strategically vulnerable and authentic, to be able to have the language and the wherewithal and the, whatever you want to call it, executive presence or whatnot, to be able to provide the truth in that moment, that is where, for me, I lose trust in that particular person. That's in personal and professional, right? When I get the sense that you are hiding the truth from me and you're not being authentic, the trust meter starts to dip down. That doesn't mean it can't go back up, right? But it starts to go down. 70, 65. All right. We're at about 50. So now, right, I'm losing trust in that person, and I'm waiting, or I'm questioning as to whether or not they are they going to be truthful with me? Can they be authentic with me? And that's not a healthy place to be in relationship with folks. So that's sort of my initial response to that question.